On today's show, cases of the coronavirus have now been identified in Metro Detroit. So a quick update on where things stand. Also, Amazon is opening a new 4-star retail store in Southeast Michigan. What will you find there? I talked to Celeste Donahoe from Amazon for a preview. And finally, Sven Gustafson, who previously covered politics at the Oakland Press, joins me to break down not just what happened at the top of the ticket in the Michigan primary Tuesday, but the Detroit Institute of Arts millage and some races down the ballot. I'm Jer and this is your Daily Detroit for Wednesday, March 11th, 2020. All of that after we thank our members who make this show possible. And I'm here to tell you in the works are 2 cool giveaways. A new set of stickers have already been ordered, and a tier with rocks glasses with the Daily Detroit logo is in fact coming. And here's the deal. All current members will get sent one, if they want one, when they arrive, before we set up the new rocks glass tier. You can become a member and help support the show at patreon.com/dailydetroit. And thank you. First, a quick update on the coronavirus. Last night, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer announced that 2 cases of COVID-19 had been identified in the state of Michigan. One is a woman in Oakland County who traveled internationally, and the other, a man in Wayne County that traveled domestically. The governor said both are middle-aged. The governor also declared a state of emergency, freeing up resources for the mitigation effort. Also, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention has awarded the state of Michigan $14.5 million to support the coronavirus response effort. There are some other developments as of this recording. Michigan State University, Wayne State University, Michigan Tech, and Central Michigan University have moved their students to online classes. Also, both MSU and Wayne State will extend their spring break until March 23rd. And this weekend, if you're thinking about heading to Eastern Market, it will still be open. There will be hand sanitizing stations at the major entrances. Because similar events have been canceled around the country, we know that we have some listeners that have questions about the St. Patrick's Day parade in Corktown this Sunday, March 15th. As of this recording, which is Wednesday afternoon, they are waiting on a decision from the Detroit Health Department. Joining me on the line is Celeste Donahoe. She is the director of physical stores for Amazon. They have some big news. They are coming to Metro Detroit. Celeste, welcome to Daily Detroit.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So what is this I hear that Amazon is doing like a retail store? I mean, I thought what you all did was online. What's the idea behind doing retail?
Well, we're always experimenting on behalf of our customers, and we know that customers really resonate and really appreciate the reviews that we have in stores. So we've opened a store that really highlights that. So we're very excited to introduce Amazon 4-Star to the Somerset collection today. Amazon 4-Star is a physical store that's designed to help our customers discover products they will love. We start with only the most popular categories on Amazon.com, including our devices, consumer electronics, books, toys, and games, home and kitchen, and more. And at Amazon 4-Star, we only carry the most loved products. Every product in the store is rated 4 stars and above by our customers, is a top seller, or is new and trending on Amazon.com.
That's interesting. So is this also going to be a place where if you make Amazon orders, could you pick them up, or is this all going to be just retail?
It's a mix. We have retail, and you also can return your Amazon orders here.
Oh.
If it's something that you need to return, you can start the return process on Amazon and just bring it into the store free of charge without any additional packaging.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So where is this going to be located? I hear it's going to be in Oakland County.
Well, it's in the Somerset collection, and we're super excited because that's a great retail location, and we like to be where our customers are shopping.
So do you know exactly where in the Somerset collection it's going to be? So because it's a pretty big place.
Yeah. So on the second floor, next to Aritzia.
Okay. I know where that is. All right. One of the things I think just our listeners are always interested in is you look at how the store is laid out and all that kind of stuff. It seems like it's something where you're able just to go in and find just a whole wide variety of things. It's definitely not tied to one category. I've been going through the pictures and things, and it's something that it was surprisingly wide. I thought it would be something that would be kind of more niche.
Well, yeah, we really want to help customers discover the best from across Amazon. So I can walk you through some of the key features of the store if you'd like.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that our customers have really responded well to are our curated features in the store that mirror the Amazon.com shopping experience. So when a customer first enters Amazon 4-star, they'll notice a table, most wished for on Amazon.com. And this is a favorite of our customers because it has a diverse selection of products that are among the most frequently added to our customers' wish list. So right now you'll see everything from an Instapot to one of my nephew's favorite toys, the Beyblade. There's a battle set collection for that toy, as well as Michelle Obama's Becoming and a Cuisinart knife set.
You know, almost all my friends who are parents have kids who love those Beyblades. It's just something that, like, my coworkers just talk about all the time.
Yes, I've spent a lot of time playing with my nephew on those. He usually wins.
And then another thing is that you're actually doing, like, digital price tags?
Yeah, so every product in the store does have a digital price tag attached. In addition to having the price, it also has the Prime member price. All Prime members in the store pay the Amazon.com price. It has the average star rating and the number of reviews the product has received. So these are some of the most important things that our customers have told us they like to know.
Well, and I noticed here, and this is something that I've actually seen in Bookstars before, where there are customer review cards with, like, quotes from customers. And I think, like, when I have gone to various specialty bookshops, one of the things that they do is they have, like, little pull-out cards and say, well, this book is for this, if you're interested in this, that kind of thing. And one of the things, doing some research on this, it seems like that's something that you guys do, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, all of our stores are a direct reflection of our customers. And so in addition to the star ratings, we know that customers like the actual customer reviews about the product. So throughout the store, they will see customer review cards that highlight just little extra insights about the product in the store. And we like to think it's getting a personal recommendation from a friend.
Yeah. So this is open today, right?
Yes, this morning.
Wow, that's exciting. And are the hours the same as the mall?
Yes, we'll follow the mall hours. Opens at 10 a.m. this morning.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. Well, Celeste, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you.
Great. We appreciate the chance to talk to you, too, and we're excited to come to Detroit.
It is a busy day here at Daily Detroit, but I want to make sure to catch up with my colleague here, Sven Gustafson, about the election, because there was so much that happened last night, both local and national.
Indeed, there was. There was a Democratic primary on the ballot. Maybe you heard a little bit about that.
I think some people have heard about it. It's possible that it's been a topic of discussion, and an interesting one, to say the least.
Indeed. So Joe Biden scores a huge victory, obviously, about 53% to 36% for Bernie Sanders, the self-proclaimed Democratic Socialist and an independent senator from the state of Vermont. Interesting results that, we can kind of get into this and slice and dice this. Turnout was really big last night. Turnout was about 1.58 million people in the state of Michigan, which is, I think, about 30% of all registered voters. This is just in the Democratic primary side. That's about 380,000 more voters than cast ballots in the Democratic primary back in 2016. What's really particularly interesting about that is Bernie Sanders, despite that huge increase in Democratic voters casting votes, he got about a little more than 20,000 fewer votes than he did here in Michigan in 2016 when he actually scored an upset victory over Hillary Clinton, which is really fascinating, I think.
It is fascinating. And if you look deeper into the numbers, one of the key underpinnings of the Sanders campaign is that he's going to bring out young voters and mobilize them. But only 15% of voters under the age of 30 showed up last night. And that is actually below what Obama did in the Democratic primary in 2008. So that underlying case, I mean, yes, there could be other issues and other things going on, but in general, that underlying case is just not true.
Yeah, I mean, and I think people are going to be, parsing this for a long time. Why wasn't Bernie Sanders able to get that young voter turnout this year? I mean, that's an interesting question. I don't know that I have the answer, but apparently, this so-called command of the young vote and that he was the young person's candidate didn't really materialize in the end for him for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, he was the young person's candidate, but they didn't get out to the polls.
Right, exactly. I mean, this graphic that's been making the rounds from the New York Times shows that Bernie Sanders clearly was the choice of voters below age 50 for the most part. The only problem with that is voters over the age of 50 were exactly half of the voting electorate.
But this is not unheard of in American electoral politics. Like, in general, young people don't vote for a variety of reasons. It's not like this is a special case. This is the norm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's going to be a problem. I mean, Bernie Sanders gave a news conference today. I didn't catch the whole thing, but I know he didn't concede. But it's difficult to see how he's going to, kind of recoup from this pretty big loss and find a way, to the Democratic nomination and gain some of this ground he's lost to Joe Biden.
I was listening to the 538 Politics podcast, and they put his chances at less than 1%.
Yeah. So, I mean, Biden won all 83 counties. Turnout was way up this year in Oakland County. I mean, you attributed his win to support from suburban residents, particularly college-educated suburban residents, Black voters, and older voters. Turnout in the city of Detroit was about 112,000 voters. Interestingly, Bernie Sanders lost to Biden in Washtenaw County. Again, he lost all the 83 counties to Biden, but he lost in Washtenaw County, which he won by double digits over Hillary Clinton 4 years ago.
So when you're talking about these turnout questions, I can't help but think there is some seismic shifts between Bernie in 2016 with Hillary as the opponent versus today. And I wonder how much of 2016 was a protest vote versus actual support of Bernie Sanders?
Right, exactly. I mean, I think there's a lot of thinking out there that 2016 may have been a bit of a blip and that Bernie Sanders' support was down, more to protest against Hillary Clinton than, genuine grassroots supports for Bernie Sanders, the candidate himself. Hard to say, hard to prove that, but definitely Biden did better this year than Hillary Clinton did 4 years ago, especially among like white suburban voters and those sort of key demographics. So, definitely evidence to support that.
But look, Matt, my gut just doesn't feel good around this. You see what happened to Elizabeth Warren, a candidate who seemed very strong. And then there were a lot of people who were like, I don't know why. I just can't vote for her. And it seemed so similar to me to Hillary Clinton. I don't know what's wrong with her. I just can't vote for her. I'm sitting there going, this feels gross. Like there is part of me that just my alarm bells are going off about this whole thing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think there have been some definitely discouraging things to take away from this election cycle so far in the Democratic primary race. If you're someone who has hopes of seeing a woman, get the Democratic Party nomination and, get a woman in the White House as president, there's no question about that. I mean, like I've been surprised to hear, I spoke to a friend recently who I never would have pegged this for, but he was, talking angrily about Hillary Clinton and how much he hated her. She clearly inspired sort of animosity from more than just kind of rabid right wingers, right? I don't know that Elizabeth Warren inspired the same kind of outright hostility, but there's no question, people interpreted her kind of like her smarts, her policy smarts and her comprehensive proposals as like, well, she's really nanny and she just sort of like lectures and everything like that, which is, going to your point, I think it is a form of misogyny and everything. So definitely some discouraging storylines there about the fate of many of the female candidates on the ballot.
I think there's three really important highlights. I think those Oakland County and also Livingston County as well, those voters, those Alyssa Slotkin voters, that much more moderate Democrat, that is the wing of the party that has been successful. Although, yes, there have been the wins of, say, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and others, the bulk of the gains for the Democratic Party has been in the middle. So that's I think, a key thing in seeing people who are going, maybe they were moderate Republicans and now they're becoming moderate Democrats in the age of Trump.
Well, in talking about the Alyssa Slotkins, the representatives who in 2018 managed to, turn districts that had gone, for Trump and Republicans before that for a long time, with voter turnout being up. I mean, you were saying earlier that you think that sort of the bottom line for this election, more so than even Bernie Sanders, is that last night was not good news for Donald Trump.
Oh, I mean, in those districts, the Haley Stevens, Alyssa Slotkins, others, if this pattern does hold up, Trump is in a lot of trouble in Michigan because he's lost the middle. So it's one of those things of he may have so much support in the Republican Party, but if the Republican Party now represents 40%, that's a margin you can't overcome.
Yeah, exactly right. So, all right, enough with the big top of the ticket races. Another of the big questions on the local ballot in Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties and the city of Detroit was the future of the Detroit Institute of Arts. There was a 10-year property tax renewal on the ballot, a 0.2 mil tax. This one passed pretty overwhelmingly, pretty comfortably. I think a lot of people are a little surprised to see that. Nearly 76% of the voters supported in both Wayne and Oakland County, and even in Macomb County, where I think a lot of people were wondering, this thing could wobble and maybe go down to defeat in Oakland County. It ended up passing with 62% support.
Which is a resounding success, let's be honest. Something passing 62%, I mean, that is almost 2/3 of the voters for this.
For a tax in Macomb County, yes, indeed. That's a remarkable result.
It really makes me think. There's been a lot of coverage of loud voices, especially from the northern parts of Macomb County, but I wonder, is there actually more of a on-the-ground want for regionalism with actual voters than where the leaders think that they're at?
Well, I'm not ready to go that far. My thinking is, I lump the DIA millage in the same kind of bucket as the Detroit Zoo, right? These are highly visible regional assets that we have. They're kind of like feel-good assets, I guess you could almost call them. I mean, everybody has a story about going to the Detroit Zoo, like a memory from childhood or taking their families there or whatever. I mean, the same is basically true about the DIA, which, I have to say has done a really good job in the years since the original 10-year regional tax passed of expanding their programming. They're offering all of these field trips to schools and including also to senior citizen groups and stuff where they're arranging and paying for transportation for these groups to come down and spend the afternoon in the museum and go on tours with the docents and everything. So they've done a really good job, and I think that's helped build up even more goodwill than those institutions already sort of naturally have. So, I'm not ready to look at this and say, oh, Macomb County might be ready to support regional transit expansion. Not quite yet.
So there's a couple other races, Sven, that you wanted to look at because, I mean, us, we like to be hyper-local. So let's get nerdy.
Yeah, well, staying with Macomb County, their remarkable, votes in support of taxes continued with the passage of a 10-year, 1.9 mil tax to support the Macomb Intermediate School District. That passed with 57% of the vote. That's going to mean money divvied out to the local school districts. There were a number of other school districts across Oakland County, especially that saw bond issues mostly being passed. Ferndale schools, right here where I live, saw easy passage of a pair of bond issuance. $125 million bond issues to make repairs, upgrades. They're going to build a new lower elementary school. That passed, both bonds basically passed by nearly 4-1 margins. Voters in Farmington school districts, Pontiac schools, Clarkston also passed bond measures to fund improvements. And then a couple, and Birmingham schools as well with 76% of the vote. Another one of interest, race of interest in Huntington Woods right up the road, about 2/3 of voters okayed a property tax increase to cover retirement costs for police and firefighters, which is kind of an interesting thing. That's often a thing we're hearing more and more about in municipal finance here in Michigan, and voters are not always super happy about supporting those kind of things.
One of the things that's interesting about how Metro Detroit's set up, so many of these communities you're talking about, and especially communities in Macomb County, they're not that old as far as being populated and having legacy costs. Especially when you're talking about Macomb County, you're talking about growth areas. There's just a lot of change, and there's a lot of people, and those people have costs as time goes on, and retirement and all that kind of stuff. And I think you're really starting to see that start to get comprehended in the suburbs, whereas that has always been baked in the city of Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's going to, firefighter, police, teacher pensions are only going to be a bigger story moving forward as more of these, even some of the newer suburbs, as you say, as these legacy costs kind of catch up with them.
Sven, good to see you, my man.
Hey, thanks a lot.
And we're done for today. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes that makes this show happen. And thanks to our members at patreon.com/dailydetroit. If you have feedback for the show, story ideas, or more, email us at dailydetroit@gmail.com. I'm Jer Stays. Please take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.